Welcome to the Relationship Codes. Hey, look, I'm Kevin C. Bozeman, the owner of Relationship Avenues, and I am here with my girl Kasha B is joining us today. She not out there in
What's
the field getting
up?
all that money. What's up, Kasha? Look, I'm
Oh,
glad you
what's
could come in and
up?
join us today.
Yeah, looking forward to it. It's always a good conversation, so definitely looking forward to it. So, welcome everybody. Um, we are talking about the laws that build connections. We're really going back into diving into the three laws. Um, the law of significance, which we covered already. So, if you didn't see that episode, go back
Yup,
and watch it. That law is nothing truly meaningful is ever achieved alone.
that's
The
right.
second law we went to was the law of the big picture.
That's right.
And in that one, the goal is more important than the role. And today, Kevin is going to lead us in a discussion about the law of Mount Everest, where the bigger the dream, the bigger the team. And these laws were written for leadership success. But today, we're unpacking about how they also apply to relationships that shape our lives, both personally and professionally. So, Kevin, let's get into this law of Mount Everest.
Look, I've studied these teamwork dynamics, and for years, when I first started out just understanding about team dynamics, it really started out growing up in
Mm-hmm.
on the block, and we had a whole lot of families. So it was, playing sports on the block and who to pick, who to watch
Mm-hmm.
out for.
Yeah.
And at that early age, it was about who do you partner with in order to be successful. And we would
Mm-hmm.
go and we would play against other neighborhoods and take the best crew with you in order to beat that other neighborhood. And so that started at a very early age.
Mm-hmm.
Now you go through, high school sports and championships. That's a whole different team dynamic. You do the same thing in college. That's a whole different team dynamic. And
Mm-hmm.
then you take the stuff from the field to the boardroom. That's a whole different dynamic. And really, when you talk about the law of Mount Everest, whatever it is you're trying to achieve, the stronger the team must be. So if you're single and you're trying to get into a relationship, you really have to have really good assessment skills. It's not about how much money you make. It's
Mm-hmm.
about what skill set you had in order to make that money. Because if that money disappears, can you reduplicate that?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times we don't know how to effectively partner with somebody. And every time you go to a different level, that's going to require a different version of you.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't want to work on themselves. That's why they choose alternatives. I'm going to stay single. Not just nothing wrong with it, because I tell you what, it's better to stay single if you're not going to work on team dynamics, because you'll get on a team and
Mm-hmm.
partner with the wrong person and really wreck yourself. And so, it just requires that every time you go to a different level in your relationship, from the beginning, even in the middle, towards the end, you have to have the understanding that it's going to require a different skill set in order for you to be able to climb higher. And that's where that law of the Mount Everest come, because you're always forever climbing a mountain in life. If you've been married 5 years, guess what is it going to take to get to 10 years happily? Not just get there drudgingly, but happily. You married
Mm-hmm.
10 years, what is it going to require to get to 15? What is it going to require to get to 20? What is it going to require to get to 25? And so that's those, when you start facing relationship challenges, it's really not about falling apart. It's about calling on both of y'all to level up y'all skills, both emotionally and spiritually. And so you could tell that from somebody at the very beginning when you dating them, if they a level up type of person, or if they just like to settle and never move, then that's not a person you want to hook up with in terms of getting a good partnership to move. They just may be a seasoned type person. And so that's
Gotcha.
where that first piece come in at.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. What's your thoughts about that, Kasha? I mean, I know you on the ladies scene. I know you have your girls and your
Mhm,
friends and people that you've come up with,
mhm,
and plus all of the mess that you hear that's out there on the social media platforms and in the world about relationships.
mhm.
What are some of the things that you seeing as kind of true when it comes down to two people building together? What's some of the biggest struggles?
I think it just across the board, just dating or finding that person to date and being married and, longevity of marriage and all that. It's all communication. I think is the biggest key. I think once folks kind of get past um, that the honeymoon phase of the relationship, um, then that's where a lot of the extra communication comes in and the reassessments of the relationship over time.
Right.
But just because and people have everyone goes through their story, everyone goes through um their their tough times. I know now um the the relationship apps are, they've had a phase coming in. But I've been reading some articles about how what's the new kids, the Z's, the are we in Gen Z
Right. Right.
that are
I
dating now? I
I
can't even
can't even
remember what
keep
I
up
am.
with them. The
Right,
young
half the
folk.
time
Right.
I
Right. The
ask
young
I have
folk.
to ask my daughter and my sisters who are younger than me. My sisters are 15 and 17 years younger than I am. And
Right.
so I
Right.
always ask them, what generation am I again? Because I can
Right.
never remember. But I was reading an article that was saying that the generation, I guess, Z, the younger folks are kind of moving away from the apps just because it's so much that we're, going on. Like the 20 somethings now are moving away
Right.
from the apps. But, I think uh, everything, sometimes relationships do have a season. You just never know. You don't necessarily know what that season is until you're in it. And I think that's why people, just have to take that time to communicate in order to find out who is that person. If that's what they're looking, they're looking for that person to build with, which a lot of people are looking for that special someone to help
Right.
build a life with. And so you just have to really open those lines of communications. And like you said, just be willing to work on um, the relationship as it progresses.
Right. And I think that's real good that you mentioned that because that takes me to one of my coaching points. And one of the coaching points is it's the preparation protects the connection. And a lot of people don't know how to prepare. And I raised my hand on that the first time I got married. Now, I I didn't know what I was doing, obviously, because that's why it was the first time. And I look at what my preparation was for that. It's not going to counseling 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months before you get married. It's really about understanding how you're wired, how the other person is wired. It is about taking a look at how what their level of drive is versus your level of drive. You can't hope that they'll drive later if they don't drive now.
Mm,
And I think that's one of the biggest mistakes. It is the part that you need to prepare for. Strong couples prepare for storms even before they hit it. And so that is a key right there to
mhm,
success. That how are you preparing in life? Do you guys talk about that? Or do y'all talk about what I call white noise? It don't matter what your favorite color is or what you like to eat. That has nothing to do with it.
mhm,
Does that person like to read? What type of information do they take in? Even if they don't read, do they listen to
mhm,
podcasts? Do they listen to educational type stuff? What is it that they do in order to take in information to prepare? If a person doesn't prepare, if they don't have a type of preparation regimen that you can measure, you can be sure that when the storms come, they're going to get blew around. And that's one of those things when I talk about knowing what to look for when you effectively partnering in a person that makes the partnership last, or for how long does that partnership, what things can you work with that partnership for. Like in business, there's
Mm-hmm.
some people in business, they're going to be very good at the mechanics of it. They're not going to be very good at the vision of growing the business, because their gifting is mechanics. And there's going to be some limitations. They're not going to visualize things like you do, but they are going to organize things like you're not going to organize. And so there's
Mm-hmm.
kind of this, how can we put these two ingredients together to make this
Mm-hmm.
real good tasty dish, you know?
Right. Make it a balance, a nice balance.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And so
Let's. Oh, go ahead. I'm
no,
sorry.
that's no, so that's kind of like really, what it's like. It's like talking about honesty type stuff. What type of conflict tools does a person have? I mean, do they always retreat? Do they always shut down? Do they always snap? Are they always crying? Are they always pointing the finger? Or are they always trying to figure out a way to eliminate the conflict from happening? Having the ability to say, well, I don't know how to do this, let me figure out, let me look it up, let me research it, let me read a book on it. I don't know where you get your information from, but it's not the reality shows. I mean, and I'm gonna keep it moving on that, because that's all they do is fight and argue on that. And you think you don't get a part of that, doesn't rub off on you. Well, it surely does.
Mm.
And you may never see it, and you may say, oh, well, that's just entertainment. Okay, let's look at your relationship then.
I
Because
almost feel like people need to. It's like an interview process. It should be an interview process, and that's something that as young people, you don't necessarily think about interviewing someone that you're considering getting into a relationship with, and that even not even talking about marriage at that point in time, but mostly, but even in a relationship. And because it's all about the love, and it's all about what we, like you said, what we have in common and things of that nature. But that's what we knew to kind of go
right,
on. So
right.
now looking at years later, even from me as a young adult into now 50, and now having been married for 20 23
Gosh, you don't even
years.
look nowhere like you in your 50s.
I take it. Thank
You,
you.
my goodness, girl. You glow over there
Right,
glowing and
glowing, right?
everything,
It's my
you know?
moisturizer. Moisturizer. but
Oh, that's
but when
funny.
you look at
Okay.
things that you wish that now that you wish you knew
Right,
then, type of deal, as you're going through and dating people. Because I think we've all dated folks that we were like, probably wasn't the best,
right,
you know, person to date. But had you gone through certain interview, or and finding out questions up front, you can kind of knock some of that off the
right.
table,
You
as you
sure
can
can.
consider doing. But people don't want to do the interview. They feel like, oh, it's too early to
No, no,
ask those
no.
questions, or I don't want to grill somebody, or I don't want to be grilled. But I think you know now knowing what I know now, yeah, I think that might be something, even off the rip, first, second date. Let's talk about it. What's going on? Because
Right,
you wouldn't
exactly.
be in that dating situation with someone unless you were interested in going beyond
That's
that
right.
first couple of dates, right?
That's right. And I think you made a very good point. And that is, it's the interviewing process in the very beginning. And I'm gonna tell you this right now. My wife interviewed me.
I know she
The
did.
very first time we went out, she okay, well, I'll meet you here. So we went to this coffee shop, and we sat down, and we got some beverages. And the first thing she said was, "What do you want with me?"
Mm.
That was the very first question. What do you want with me? Well, so why do you see that? I'm like, I'm trying to get
Okay,
to know
sis.
you. I'm trying to get to, this is me. I'm trying to get to
I'm
know.
just,
I'm trying to
I'm
get to
just,
know you.
I
You know
think
what
you
I'm saying? So that
interesting.
we can. She said, "Well, know me for what? What are you trying to do with me?" I mean, like she
I
wanted to
love
know
that.
what the
Yes.
plan was, and I was like,
What's the
Hey,
plan,
look,
man?
I've been watching you. You know what? And I think, I think we put some things together. We can do some things for life. And that was my approach. I wasn't trying to
Mm-hmm.
just push up on the sister.
Mm-hmm.
I had plans too. She
Mm-hmm.
just came out the door straight cold blooded with it.
I
Well,
love it.
what do you
Yes.
want
What
with
do
me?
you want with me?
What
Yes.
is it that you
Ask the
want? Well, I mean,
questions.
why do you see that? Well, how do you
Mm-hmm.
see that working? Well, how do I
Mm-hmm.
fit into your plans? And that's what she asked. She wanted to see where she fit. If I really had true intentions, if I had really thought about it, if I had got into prayer, if I look and could paint a future with her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it took us some time to get together because she needed to grow. I needed to continue to grow some more
Mm-hmm.
because when it came back to it, she knew I had a plan and she knew I wasn't playing.
Mm-hmm. And that's valid. And the fact that y'all recognized that that the growth needed to happen,
Yep.
right? And so just being able to identify that in yourselves,
Yep.
to knowing that you wanted to build something with each other,
Yep.
but understanding like, okay, well, before we get to that point, let's work on some things, let's communicate together, and then at the right time we'll put it all in place.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I
And
love that she did that.
she
Go,
did.
sis.
She,
I
she
need to
hit. She hit me. She
give
hit
her
me
a
up.
high
She hit me up
five.
hard.
tell,
What
tell
do
her I'm
you?
giving her high fives from
I'm gonna tell her
Michigan.
too. I'm gonna tell her, I was like, "Gosh, should be get talk about high fives. Talk about what do you want with me?"
Right,
And
I
that's
know
true
that's right.
because look, either a person is gonna run from that question or they gonna lean into it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if they run, you didn't scare nobody off. What you did was you actually repelled the garbage
Mm.
with they might not be garbage, but the
Mm-hmm.
right
But of the right
intention.
intentions with each
Right,
other,
with
yeah,
the right
yeah.
intentions.
Just it didn't align with what you were looking for for your life at that point.
Exactly. Now they may look good, they may smell good, whatever the case is, there might be a strong attraction, but there is nothing stronger that will kill attraction than somebody who doesn't have a plan or ugly inside. You
Mm-hmm.
want to repel that from day one. That's why you don't have to worry about wasting time. So I think the interviewing process is a really good way to go about doing it, even for a second date. I mean, you don't even have to make your
Mm-hmm.
first date a long type of thing.
Yeah, you just gotta get to know each other a little
Yeah,
bit. If they're interesting enough to talk to again,
that's right.
spend
Look,
a little bit more time.
that's right. And that's what I did. That's what I did with my wife. And as we started to talk a little bit about going on, this goes into coaching point number 3. We shared some of our struggles to see if it could create some strength.
Mm.
Let me give you an example. We talked about our parents' money habits
Mm-hmm.
because the number one thing people fight about is money.
Mm.
How money is spent, how money is made. And so in my family, my dad held down everything.
Mm-hmm.
But my mom also brought in bank too. My mom had the entrepreneur spirit.
Mm.
And so my dad held down everything, and my mom always made sure my dad didn't want for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad always held it down.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I grew up seeing two people working together. My dad always going to go get it, and my mom making sure he didn't want for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Did they have disagreements? Absolutely. Did
Mm-hmm.
somebody have to do couch duty? Absolutely. But did
Mm-hmm.
they work it out? Absolutely. And they was married for
Right.
63 years before my mom passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And
Wow.
so and so just sharing those struggles really helps understanding how you going to survive tight financial moments.
Mm-hmm.
How do you work on when there's miscommunication? If there's a setback, how do y'all come together in order to be able to weld and deal with the storm together? Because struggles doesn't just test love, it tests your strength. So that's why it's better to work on
Mm-hmm.
strengths in interviewing process when you get with somebody, before you get with somebody, because love will fade and come and go. You always have to put logs on the fire to keep that thing burning. It don't just
Mhm.
burn automatically. It's not like you got a gas fireplace that just gonna
Right.
constantly
Just light it
burn
up.
with this. Even if you
Yeah.
use propane, you got to switch out the propane tank.
hmm And I think it should be um, kind of reassessments throughout um, the relationships as well. At certain markers. I think it should be every year. It should
Okay, okay.
reassess, put plans together. What's going on? Okay, so you know certain things that you kind of reassess and talk about because goals may change over time. You just have to have that communication. But I think it should always be some markers in the relationship where you kind of go back in and you know come together, talk about it. What's the next goals? What's the next 5 years? What's the next year? What does it need to look at? Almost like planning, business planning, right? You got to plan for it in order for things to continue to move along.
That's right. And you know what's really interesting about that? Every Monday, my wife and I have More Money Mondays.
Mm-hmm.
Every Monday, we go over 5 questions.
Mm-hmm.
The first 2 questions is fun. They start off with a fun question. Okay, so this week, if you had a windfall of money, or when you get your first big lump sum of money, what's some of the things you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
And we can tell every week our vision changes, our goals change, which actually fuel our hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't talk about your vision, then you don't really know how to plan.
hmm And
So
on a
I
personal level too, like
yeah,
relationship wise, like
absolutely.
coming together and asking certain questions. We got Chat GPT now. Folks be like, "Hey, I've been
Right.
in this, my marriage for such and such, looking for, how can we come together, whatever that looks like." But just having those assessments, even personally, maybe it's oh well, looking at this year, we didn't do as many date nights as we used to do 5 years ago. Okay, so
Right.
now we need to plan for next year. We need to make sure we got at least, 2 date nights a month or whatever that looks like. But just,
Right.
planning not only financially like you guys do with your More Money Mondays, but even planning how, looking at the year that you've had
That's
or
right.
last couple of years and how do you want the next couple of years to go and what different activities um do you want maybe is we need to watch a movie together at home
Right.
once a week or whatever that looks like in order to continue building that relationship as well because just because you were sitting in a 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 year marriage,
That's
you have
right.
to continue to say, okay, well, we need to do things to make sure we still like each other at
That's
the end of
right.
the year.
That's right. That's
That's the
right. Because
first
if
thing.
not, because if
Do we
not,
like
you
each
will
other?
drift apart. That's right.
Yeah. And then what can we do to continue on that process? So it's very, you got to do it.
That's right. So Kasha, let me ask a question. Do you have a question you want to ask?
Yes. So
Okay.
we had a question from the audience that how do you know if someone's part of your Mount Everest team? Referring to the people who are truly climbing with you.
So the question is, how do you know if somebody's a part of your Mount Everest team
Mm-hmm.
and if somebody's really truly climbing with you?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a real easy answer. Certain people are only going to be able to climb certain heights. They may only be able to go a certain journey with you on Mount Everest. You may have to have a certain amount of people. Like, let me give you an example. My
Mm-hmm.
wife is not interested in any tech talk. She wants to learn it, but she doesn't geek out like I do on it.
Mm-hmm.
So I go hang out with my geek tech friends and we talk about how to build apps. We talk about how to position it to make the money.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get with her, I show her some different tools to help her with the vision.
Mm-hmm.
And then she says, okay, look, I can help you lay this out and put it together.
Right.
So she only is going to go so far with me.
Mhm.
So you can't expect for somebody maybe not to go all the way to the top with you together. You may have to go with another team and then come back and get
And
them
then
and
bring them
take them to
together.
the top. Absolutely.
Hmm.
And don't get
Yeah.
mad for the skill set that they have. Everybody doesn't aspire to be at the top either.
Hmm.
They're like, well, if I don't know where I'm going, how about you go and come back and get me? So you can't be mad like, oh, I'm doing this all by myself. No,
Right.
you get you a crew that can
Hmm.
roll with you and trying to get to the top. Like my tech
Hmm.
friends, we are determined that we gonna stay with this AI stuff and
Hmm.
design it. We're not afraid of it. We're going
Hmm.
to embrace it. We gonna rock it. We're
Hmm.
already making money from it, and it's
Hmm.
only gonna get better. But guess
Yeah.
what? My wife like going shopping.
Hmm.
She like going out to dinner.
Hmm.
She like want to get the flyer back to the D so she can go see her mama. She
Yeah.
like all that. And guess
Yeah.
what? She's the biggest cheerleader and the biggest fan I got.
Absolutely.
Go, baby, go get that.
Yep.
You go.
Yep. Let me know
You
how I
mean
can
with your
help you.
right? You going to meet with your friends today? And I'll be
Yeah.
like, yeah, I got it covered. She'd be like, okay, just tell me if you need something, and then
Hmm.
there it is. It's on. So
Yeah. But that's
that's how
all
I
being
would
in a
answer that question.
complimentary relationship. It's
Exactly.
complimentary.
And I don't get mad at her because she doesn't want to do tech talk. I got my
Yeah.
tech talk friends.
Yeah. I like
And
that.
that's not TED talk, that's tech talk.
Tech, right? Tech talk. Yeah.
Right,
So
right.
that was the main question. I know we running
Okay.
over, but it's some good conversation.
Yeah, it is. And
Some
it's
good
super, it's
good
super
points.
important to have we are certified people in the field. We just not bumping our gums just to be online. Our
Yeah.
whole goal is really to equip people with codes to be successful because in this time, it's not about being alone. It is about effectively partnering. It is about developing yourself. It is about becoming a team in order to be able to survive, especially with everything that's going on. You're going to need relationships more now than ever so. And so, I just want to thank you for joining. We got my
Hmm.
girl Kasha. She done came back out of the field. Kasha, look, it's always good to rock with you.
You too.
Girl,
Thank
thank
you.
you. I appreciate you for being here. Hey, and
Hmm.
that's our time. And we'll see you next Wednesday.
See you next Wednesday. Have a great one.